Okay, hopefully you guys can see me. So it's been a very long day. That family member that has been going through mental issues, she got kicked out of where she was today, and I've been trying to help her. Actually, she got kicked out before now, but I've been trying to help her the last couple of days, try to figure out what to do with her things and all kinds of stuff. So it's been kind of hectic on top of a lot of the other things. We had to go to the dump today and all these different things. But to cut a long story short, I'm finally getting to this video here. Okay, so I have some Harmony Quinoa by Ancient Harvest. I have just some plain canned black beans. You know, you could do black beans from scratch and then cook them as I'm going to show you after the fact, once they're cooked, you know, to their soft. And then I have also some canned mushrooms. You can use fresh, but I have plenty of cans on deck. Anyways, I also, mushrooms go bad fast in the refrigerator. It's ridiculous how fast they go, so I have to cook them immediately. I have some sweet, different colored peppers, multicolored peppers, some green pepper, zucchini, celery, and red onion. Okay, so be sure that when you're dealing with any kind of fresh fruits and foods, that you're always washing your fruits and vegetables before you cut them up. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and cut these things up, and then I'll show how I strain these and so on and so forth. Okay, so a few things that I forgot to talk about is my seasonings. This is going to be cracked or ground black pepper. I usually have my pink salt in the grinder like this too, but I also, right now I have it in extra fine right here. But that's pink salt, garlic powder, cayenne pepper by Zatarans, and then some grapeseed oil. Okay. So in total, that's everything that you would need. I will put a list below in the, in the comment section area or whatever you want to call it. You're supposed to rinse quinoa before you cook it. A little bowl, just so at the end of it I can kind of sit it like that and let it drain. So I'm gonna pour me some quinoa in here. Some of it is going out of the bottom of it. Some of them, the granules are smaller. I have a finer net and I probably should have used it. I'm going to rinse it one more time. And it should smell really earthy, if you understand what I mean, when you're rinsing it. Okay. I would do like a lukewarm to a hot for rinsing. Some people, for my fruits and vegetables, I do room temperature water to cold, but for my greens, when you gotta rinse greens, I usually do a warmer water. Okay, so I just started the water over here to getting ready to boil. It's not boiling yet, but I can go ahead and put my quinoa in there. I like these little things right here because they make it kind of empty out. Okay, so for my beans, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to worry about the fact that there's a little bit of quinoa in here because it's all going to go together in a little bit anyway. So if you have like compromised water of any type, I would suggest pouring these beans with the juices as it is in a big bowl and pouring some spring water or whatever type of water you normally drink, drinking water. I drink spring water. It's the most alkaline water. But that's the way you would do that. Pour that in there in a big bowl, swish it around, and then pour it through a strainer then. That way you don't have to use tap water if that's the case. Meanwhile, let me bring you over here to see how you're going to do that for the other can of beans as well. But I'm going to bring you over here. Okay, so the quinoa is on the boil. It's doing a good, nice boil now. And it'll have to boil for about 15 minutes. And then I will drain any excess water off of it. I usually put a little more than what's recommended. It's usually 1 cup quinoa to 2 cups water. But I usually put a little bit more water and, let it get good and soaked up, so to speak. And then I drain my quinoa when I finish. And you'll know your quinoa is finished because it'll have those little, it's kind of like these little rings that come off of the little balls. So it'll just be like, it looks funny, but that's when you know it's done. Okay, while the quinoa is right here cooking, I'm going to go ahead and start chopping up foods. I won't show the whole thing because that's going to be time consuming. As you can see, I've started cutting up some of the vegetables, but I wanted to show you in the pot. If you see those rings all around the outside edge, that's how you know you're just about ready. So I'm going to go ahead and drain that out just the same way I drained it the first time. I'm going to drain it again, but this time it's just cooked. Okay, so we're going to drain this again. You don't have to pour all of it into the net, just enough to get all the excess water out. I think all of it, so for the most part. You're not trying to dry it out, so if it's a little left, that's fine. Okay, so now we're going to get all the quinoa from around the edges. Kind of, all of it's not going to come off the edges. But you should have a good coated bottom, about 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches thick. Okay, so I'm going to cut that eye on. Forgive my skillet on how it looks. I do cook every single day. Even when I'm tired, even when I don't feel like it, I cook. I cook all the time. So, except for that little outing we just did a weekend ago or so. I didn't cook during that, so that was a nice break. So, now I am going to saute my mushrooms to go into this. My husband absolutely loves mushrooms. I'm not necessarily a fan of mushrooms, but I'm not a fan. Like, I eat them. Let me rinse this. Okay, I'm going to let that get to cooking good, and then I'm going to add peppers and onions, which I'm about to cut up these peppers and these peppers right here. And I got my onion here, and like I said, this is a celery, so that's for in a few moments. Any minute. They're popping me. And while they're doing that, there's my black beans, my celery, my orange and yellow peppers, my red, my onion, my green peppers, and then over here is my zucchini, my seasoning, and my grapeseed oil. Okay, so at this point, let me put you guys back on the tripod. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add my peppers and onion to the mushrooms. And then I'll let them simmer some. Oh, well, let me go ahead and take them all. This is when the kitchen starts smelling real good. Okay, so I'm going to let that sit and cook for a moment. While I do that, I'm going to go ahead and throw a little seasoning on it. So I'm going to do a little bit of my pink salt. Pink salt is the only alkaline salt. That looked like a lot, but it's going to do a lot of the seasoning towards everything else. I am going to put some seasoning in the rest of it, but this is the part that adds the most parts of the flavor. So here's my cayenne pepper. You want to do just a little bit of that. And I do mean just a little bit. You overdo the cayenne pepper and you'll be... I don't mean unless you're from the South or like Louisiana or something like that. Then you might actually want it like that. Or, you know, there's a lot of other people who do. Here is some garlic powder. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and kind of stir that up a little bit. Mix it in together. And now I want it kind of flat across the skillet so they all start to cook evenly. Meanwhile, my quinoa back here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut that on low in the back. Just a little above low. I don't know if you can see that. So I cut this up a little bit above low, and this is, you know, almost 3/4 of the way up. But I'm going to go ahead and add my beans to the quinoa, okay? So, pour those in, nice and empty. Alright, now I'm going to rinse off my spatula. When you're not cooking with like meats or raw materials like that, like egg and stuff like that, it's okay to just kind of rinse your utensils and keep going. So now we have the black beans and quinoa starting to mix back here, and I have it on low. Like I said, the quinoa is already cooked through. The black beans in the can, they really just need to be heated. It's not that they need to be cooked. So I'm going to take and I'm going to salt this too. Okay. I'm going to mix that in a second, but let me go ahead. I'm going to use some of the same seasonings, but I don't have to do a whole lot because I put more of the seasoning and flavor in there. Now I want to put a little bit more garlic powder in here than I did in this. But I put more salt and pepper in my peppers and mushroom than anything. Try not to tear up or make your beans mushy. So I like to go around the edge and sweep from underneath and flip them. Because you don't want to make this feel like mush. You want it to be, you know, have texture, good texture. Let me go ahead and rinse this again. I want to get my mushrooms good and browned a little bit. Like that's a good example. If I can get it up there. How that one's starting to brown. That's what we're looking for. Flatten it all out again. Make sure that the mushrooms are getting to lay flat. The peppers and the mushrooms up close. You want to make sure that they're all kind of starting to brown, but not burned in any type of capacity. You want them to be just mildly brown. And I actually think this is good enough. I'm going to go ahead, you can do it to your taste however you like, but I'm going to go ahead and scrape them over into there and let that all cook on low. Then I'm going to add some more oil to this skillet. You'll see what I mean in a moment. And cook the next set of items. Ooh, getting hot over that eye. Okay. So now, I dropped a little oil on my eye. It'll burn off in a second. I'll have to clean it off anyways. These glass stoves, they can look really pretty and they can look really bad real quick. Okay, so it's already got little remnants of the oil from previously in there. So it'll have some flavor in there, but I'm going to add some more seasoning, of course. Alright, I'm starting to get that mixed up a little bit. Alright, now, next step is going to be to take our zucchini and put it in here that I've cut up. Zucchini and our celery. Nope, a little random piece of onion got in there. It's okay. I'm actually going to put a little bit more of this oil. I'm going to cut this up a little bit more too. And this is another spot where I want to add a little bit more garlic powder than I did with the peppers. I put it lightest in the peppers, but heavier on the salt and pepper. I'm going to do just a little light amount. Pepper. I want a little bit more cayenne in here too. I like the cayenne pepper, but I can't overdo it because my baby girl, she'll get upset about that. She doesn't mind anything to be a little hot, but too much and she's flipping out. I wish you guys could smell this. It smells so good. The whole house smells good. If I have to guess, I use 2 tablespoons of grapeseed oil the first time with the peppers and the second time with this. So 4 tablespoons of grapeseed oil in total. There you go. Okay, so we don't want this to cook long at all. This is done already. We just wanted it to cook a little bit. I want to say that might not even been a whole 2 minutes. Woo. When that oil gets on that eye, it does that. Cut this off because the eye is hot enough. I'm going to mix this through thoroughly. Okay, now this is the final product in the pot. And this is what it looks like in the bowl. Absolutely delicious and ready to eat. Let's get a fork to add the extra, preparedness in it. All right. So there it is. Grand finale. Now that is a black bean and quinoa dish that I make. Let me know if you have any suggestions on how you make yours, or if you make anything like this, or if you've ever seen anybody make anything like this. I would say that if you wanted to pair this with something, I would say some pan-seared asparagus would be good. I'll show you how I do my asparagus one of these days. This can be eaten alone as a meal, especially for a lunch or something with a salad, or completely on its own, with a piece of bread, or, however you like to do it. But I would personally put asparagus with this if I was going to add another dish or something else with it. For those meat eaters, I would say some sort of chicken would go with this. I wouldn't do beef necessarily. You could, but I wouldn't do beef. I would either do a chicken or a fish. Alright, you guys, so I am going to take a moment and eat in front of you guys. Hopefully you guys aren't hungry. That is delicious. And the celery adds a crunch, and it gives you, I don't know, it just gives you this good, wonderful crunch that you need. If you don't know, I'm eating outside of my hours. I made this dish and I can't resist it. It just is. On that note, you guys have a good one. And thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.